But I do have 4 o'clock on my surface, so I'll go ahead and kick us off, everyone. My name is Matt, and I'm with the Office of Admission. I want to welcome you to our Missouri State Center for Academic Success and Transition webinar. We're excited that you've joined us to learn more about academic support that we're going to have here for you at Missouri State. Before I hand it over to our hosts, I do have a few quick housekeeping notes I just want to make sure everyone is aware of as we go into the program. First and foremost, we want your questions. We are here to answer what you would like to know. And in your Zoom window, each of you have a Q&A tab. And using that Q&A tab at any time, whether that's right here at the beginning or whether that's when something comes to mind here in a few minutes, you can use that tab to submit questions for our panel. And what we'll do is that some of those questions we may end up answering as we go along, may answer them live or may even answer some with a typed answer depending on the situation. We'll also have an open Q&A period at the end. So it's really our goal to get through as many of your questions as we possibly can. And if we're not able to get through them live, we definitely want to try to follow up with folks to make sure we get you the answers that you're hoping for. So again, please send us your questions through the Q&A tab. And then secondly, I just want everyone to be aware that this webinar is being recorded on YouTube. And what that means is here in a few days, into this week, possibly early next week, we will be emailing you a link. So be watching the email you used to register for this event. We'll send you that link through email. And so you can check back. Maybe you're not able to stay the entire time, whatever the situation, you'll have that for later viewing. So be watching your email. And with those out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Dr. Kelly Wood, the Associate Provost for Student Success here at Missouri State, and she will take it from here.
Well, thanks, Matt. You just took my introduction. No, that's okay. We know each other well here. So I work as an Associate Provost for Student Success, as Matt said. And what that means is we focus on everything regarding student success, which we're going to talk with you about in just a minute. We'll do introductions first and then move into our presentation. I'm also a professor in the Department of Communication. And so that part of my role is as a faculty member, but the majority of my role is to make sure that all students are successful at Missouri State. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to my next colleague, Dr. Tracy Glaskin.
Hi there, my name is Tracy Glaskin. I work in our Center for Academic Success and Transition. I work, and some of the stuff I'll be talking about will be our GP 101 course. I also work with our peer leader program. That's something that we're not necessarily going to be talking about today. In addition to first generation student support, I am a graduate of Missouri State University, so I'm quite familiar with this campus and all the great resources that we have to offer. And we're really excited to have this opportunity to share some of those resources with you today.
And I'm Michael Frizzell, Director of Student Learning Services here at Missouri State University. What that means is that I am one of the directors in charge of the Bear Claw Center for Learning and Writing. And today I'm going to answer any questions you have about the writing and presentation centers, the tutoring, course mentoring programs, and other support systems that we have in place to help you academically survive that class. You know what I'm talking about. That one that beats you up more than any other class. We're there for you.
We have some amazing staff members in our area. You get to meet just 2 of them today, but I will tell you that among the 3 of us, we have many years of experience here at Missouri State. So we're really ready for your questions. And so I think with that, I'm going to ask Matt to provide a poll to you so that we can know a little bit more about you and why you've joined us today. So first question is, who's joining us today? If you would click incoming MSU student for the fall, parent or family, or maybe there's 2 of you on one call or another. And then the other option is, what are you nervous about for this fall semester? We're here to talk with you about that. So give us some idea before we start on some things that you're thinking about. Of course, you can choose any of the responses that are there. So we'll give you a couple of 30 seconds or so to complete this survey so that we can learn a little bit more about you. And Matt, whenever you feel like the majority of folks have responded, you can go ahead and show us the results. All right, so we've got some families on the call all at the same time here. That's great. So incoming students. And it looks like most of you are in that path, finding your path and adjusting to the academic expectations. Perfect, because those are the things that we're going to be talking with you about today. And I appreciate those of you who also said meeting new people and making friends, because that's an experience about being in college that sometimes people don't talk about, but it's something we know students are very interested in. And so we give you lots of opportunities to do that here. All right. So with that, I'm going to start our presentation and want to make sure that my colleagues can see this screen. All right, very good. So as I said earlier, this is about student success at Missouri State University. So what does that mean? Our mission in this area, so this is the Division of Student Success, is your success. So our goal is to make sure that you are empowered to reach your personal goals, your professional goals, and your academic goals. So I'm so glad that a lot of you have had some interest in learning about what academic expectations are, because we're really going to help you in this first semester, especially to understand what those academic goals are for yourself. We're here to support you in the classroom, as well as outside of the classroom, and to help you find those really amazing and meaningful learning experiences that you can have here. So what are the offices that you need to know about? Well, there's something called the Academic Advising and Transfer Center, and that's an advising center that will help you with things like, what do I need to do if I change my major? Who do I talk to about that? But also something that shifts from high school to college is that you move from working with a guidance counselor to move to working with an academic advisor. And that advisor will be assigned to you based on your major of choice. So that is in the Division of Student Success. Academic advising is very important. We also have the Center for Academic Success and Transition. That's what Tracy's work is in. And those are some areas that I'm going to let her talk about. Same with the Bear Claw. And you'll notice with the Bear Claw, that's the Center for Learning and Writing. So we've got the bear and the claw. Those abbreviations give us the Bear Claw, and that's a well-worn name and a loved name on campus. And then for those students who are with us today who are athletes and in our athletic teams, we have the Dr. Mary Jo Wynn Academic Achievement Center. And that is an achievement center provided for our athletes to give them some additional support with respect to study hall time and support for making it to class, getting to team practice, traveling, etc. So those are the areas that we're going to talk about today. I did want to briefly run through with you what our website looks like. So missouristate.edu/student success. So maybe if you're not on your phone or you're on somebody else's device, you can pull this up so that you can see this. This is what our website looks like. And for you as a student, you'd want to look at these areas: advising services for students and academic support services for students. So that's where you could click on and find more information about advising and about our tutoring and other services. You also have access on this screen as well. We have something called the Student Success Response Team. And you can get access to asking a question anytime. And we've got this team available to answer your questions. So you can text using that number there. You can email in or you can call. So anytime you have a question, text us or email us using this information and throughout the semester, and we will respond and give you some help to whatever that obstacle is or that question that you have that you just can't seem to find the answer to. We can help you with that. The other thing that's on this page is a link to each of those departments that I referred to earlier. So if you want to go directly to their webpage, you can do that from here. So I've given you an overview of student success. you've got the advising piece, you've got your first year experience piece and some additional support services there. And you've got your tutoring and learning services piece. Those are all the things that will help you get connected on campus and to be as successful as possible. And as I said at the top, that we can help you meet your personal, professional, and academic goals. So that's why we're here. And with that, I'm going to transfer it over to Dr. Glaskin, and she's going to talk to you, and Michael Frizzell are going to talk to you about some additional services. Take it away.
Thank you. So thinking about your first year, right? Thinking about all the exciting times that you have that lie ahead at Missouri State, you know, a big part of it is if we only could just figure out how do we make our way through that first year. So what I'm going to be getting ready to talk about here after Michael kind of gives you a preview of what he's going to be discussing is talking a little bit about our first year foundations course. So I'm going to tell you about the course that the majority of you are going to be taking your first semester with us in the fall, as well as some free, wonderful resources that we have, academic coaching. Wouldn't it be great to have someone who can kind of help hold you accountable, someone who can really help you break down assignments? That's going to be what our academic coaching is for. Peer mentoring, you know, peers like you trying to get connected to campus, learning more about ways that you can get involved and really help Missouri State become your new home, as well as the role of academic advising, and that we're going to just touch on. But all of you will be assigned an academic advisor in your first year, and this will be the person who will help you also navigate your way through college. Michael, I'm going to toss it over to you.
Sure. The Bear Claw will help you with tutoring, course mentorship. What those means is that we have support for some of the toughest classes on campus, and we have peer tutors here ready to work with you. The cool thing about our peer tutoring, it's all completely free. We'll talk a lot more about that a little later. We separate writing support because the Writing Center is one of the oldest pieces for student support services on campus. And academic college level writing is very different than what you've been doing in high school. We'll talk a little bit about how we can help you with that. And then if you have glossophobia, public speaking, that is one of the scariest things for some folks. And I can tell you right now that you will have a public speaking course that is required for you to graduate. And if you did not take it dual credit, you've got some great professors here. We've got some support for you there too. Tracy, you want to talk a little bit about our first generation student support?
Sure. So for those of you who self-identify as a first-generation student, that would be a student whose neither parent has graduated from college. We have additional support for those students. I was a first-generation student, so I understand what it's like attending college and not really quite knowing exactly what's going to be happening. And so I'll talk near the end about some of our first-gen student support resources that we have available for you. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the first year foundations course. So think about a course that's really here to help you navigate your way through that first semester. You know, wouldn't it be great to have a course that is designed to help you learn more about, you know, academic skill building, learning more about public affairs. You know, we're a public affairs institution. So wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't it also be great to have a course that's there to kind of really help you with all the needs that you have as your first semester? So GEP 101, First Year Foundations, is a course that's designed specifically for that. Think of those uncertainties of college, you know, whether it's not knowing what questions to ask. You know, people say all the time, you should ask questions. Well, that's great. What if you don't know what questions to ask? You know, not knowing how to navigate your way through your college journey. You know, just feel reassured in knowing that you'll be taking this course. It's really designed with those to help you answer those questions. The other great thing about this course, several of you commented during the poll that we had up just a few minutes ago, that you're really wanting to meet people. This class is one of your smaller classes that you're going to have. So meeting people, especially people who are on the same boat as you because they're going through college for the first time, this course is really going to be designed to help you make those connections on campus. So as I had mentioned, the course has itself 3 goals. You know, we like to focus on that public affairs awareness, the academic skill building, campus resource connections. You know, as an institution, we are, like I said, public affairs designated. So what that means is that we have committed to embracing 3 pillars of public affairs, and that includes ethical leadership, cultural consciousness, and community engagement. You don't have to worry about writing any of this down. We'll be going over this several times in our course. But in this class, you're going to learn about public affairs mission, what that means to the university, why we feel that's important, why we hope you think it's important as well. You're also going to learn about our public affairs theme. This year's theme is Bridging the Divide, as well as you're going to be experiencing some different activities and assignments that really help you connect to the public affairs mission. Our second goal focuses on academic skill building. So whether it's learning about different ways to take notes, managing your time, tips for test taking, increasing information literacy, learning actually how to do research, this course is going to help you with that. The third piece are those campus connections. Maybe you don't know who your academic advisor is. Maybe you're not even sure what an academic advisor does. Maybe you know that you want to get involved on campus, but you're not really sure how to do that. Maybe you're struggling with classes for the first time. This class is going to really provide you with a comprehensive overview of those resources that are available to you. Now, just like any other college class you're going to be taking, there will be homework, but each assignment is designed with these course goals in mind, and they're all designed to help you be a more successful student. Okay, the next topic I want to talk to you about is academic coaching. So I'm going to ask you a question now. You don't need to answer this. This isn't a poll, but ask yourself, were you satisfied with your grades in high school? Okay, so you can kind of answer that, and you can define for yourself what satisfied means. Now ask yourself, did you have to study to be satisfied with those grades? Oftentimes, students didn't necessarily have to study a whole lot in high school. Maybe there were a few classes where you did. Okay, but now you're coming to college, and now you know those expectations are going to be a little bit different. And several of you commented on adjusting to college academics and expectations as being one of your items that you're concerned about. So, do you know how to tackle a 10-page paper? You're assigned a larger paper. Do you know how to break it down? Do you know how to study for a test? Would you benefit from someone just holding you accountable? So our academic coaches can help you with that. So our academic coaches are graduate students who are specially trained to really help you go through and learn how to really become a successful college student. This service is free. So for any student at Missouri State who wants to have an academic coach to assign to them, we are happy to do that. So whether you're a first year student, just kind of getting used to kind of the, trying to get used to how to navigate your way through college and how to break down assignments. Maybe you're a student who's heading into your junior, senior year, and you're in a couple of those really tough classes for your major. We have coaches who've helped those students. We've had graduate students who are kind of adjusting from the demands of undergraduate school to grad school. So regardless of your GPA, regardless of what year you are in college, our coaches are really designed here to help you. So just keep that resource definitely in mind. Our next resource I want to talk to you about is our peer mentoring program. So if you think about peer mentoring, in that title slide, it says it, peers assisting peers. That really says it all. So our peer mentors, unlike our coaches who are graduate students, our peer mentors are undergraduate students. So some of them might just be 1 year ahead of you, but they've already learned some of those, kind of like those, the hidden secrets of campus and where do you go to find the best place to study. There's awesome places on campus to study. Maybe you really do want to get involved on campus, but you're just really not sure how. Maybe you've gone to a student organization meeting and it really wasn't for you, so you're like, there's nothing out there for me. Maybe your instructor's telling you to do something on Blackboard, or your advisor might be saying, just check on My Missouri State, and you're like, I don't even know, it's overwhelming. I don't even know where to start. Our peer mentors can definitely support you with all those different areas that you may have. And again, they're undergraduate students. They've been trained in active listening. They're very knowledgeable of the campus resources. They're using some of these campus resources themselves. And they really know what it's like to be a college student. It's just an undergraduate college student, because they are. So that just kind of gives you a little bit of an overview of some of the areas that we have within the Center for Academic Success and Transition. I'm going to go ahead and ask Michael Frizzell, who, as he mentioned, he's one of the directors of the Bear Claw, to go through and tell us about all the great resources that his area has.
Thanks, Tracy. You did a really good job of kind of outlining some of the things that I wanted to talk about too when it comes to thinking about support on campus. you're going to find that peer-to-peer interaction is powerful. Missouri State University understands that all too well. So the Bear Claw Center for Learning and Writing is designed to facilitate as much peer-to-peer action as possible. We're located in the first floor of Meyer Library. So when you come to campus, you come straight into the library, go straight back. We've got 10,000 square feet, which is incidentally right next door to Tracy's office as well. What you'll find in this large cavernous space are lots of peers just like you who have been there, done that, and survived some of the toughest classes on campus and lived to tell the tale, right? How do you become a Bear Claw tutor? You succeed in one of the target courses that we have on campus. Some of those classes where we know traditionally the material is difficult. I know what you're going to say: mathematics, sciences, large lecture-based courses where there seems to be a lot of information in a short amount of time. Those are the types of things that we focus on quite a bit. What we're doing is encouraging social interaction, collaborative work. Not only will you be working with one of our trained peer tutors, you'll also work with each other. Many of you have the same classes together, especially freshmen when you come in and you're all on this level playing field and you're taking the same things. So it's a great way to meet new study partners and to learn more information, as much as you possibly could, about that subject. I want you to remember this, that your faculty members at the college level are experts in their fields. These are folks who have PhDs and EDDs and MDs and JDs and MFAs and all these letters behind their name because they've been certified by these colleges that said they are the experts. They write the books, they do presentations across the country, but every now and then, teaching isn't always part of their load. And if you think that sounds kind of counterintuitive, think about your high school teachers and the time that you have in class. Tracy asked a fantastic question earlier, and that was, did you really have to study much in high school? What we're finding is that a lot of students say no. And the reason? They had time in class. We don't have that time here. We've got things that we've got to cover in a short amount of time. You're in a class for 2 to 3 times a week, about 3 hours roughly a week. Faculty members laying the groundwork, giving you great ideas as to exactly what you should be researching and looking closely at. And then you need to go away and make that information your own. Yeah, you're going to learn new ways to study. So the Bear Claw tutors can help you do that. On the Bear Claw's website, you're going to find that we can tutor up to about 120 different courses at any given time. These are usually hot spot areas, places that we know students have traditionally struggled. The Bear Claw offers the subject area tutoring semester by semester. It changes slightly as time goes by. As we look at student success rates, we hear from faculty, and of course, we hear from people like you who come in and said, wow, this class was really tough. If we don't have a tutor listed for a class that you need, all you need to do is ask us, because we also have peer mentors and coaches who are embedded in the space that can help you with everything from how to study for difficult courses, how to read more effectively for your class, even how to communicate with your professors. For some reason, people are intimidated by the professor. Again, all those letters behind their name, they're afraid to ask. But if you learned nothing from me today about study skills, remember this: your professor is your first line of defense in any of these classes. Most of our tutors are going to ask you, have you talked to your teacher yet? Remember that these folks had to study this material too, and they do understand that. More, Missouri State University was founded as a teacher's college. We want to engage you. We're not a level 1 research institution where the faculty aren't available. You're going to find most of your faculty ready to assist you. Once you've worked with your faculty member, you can bring your material to the Bear Claw for more information, for ways that students have successfully navigated that course, etc. The Writing and Presentation Center is a space where you could bring papers or your speeches to work a little bit more closely with experts who have worked on this. Now, when it comes to the Bear Claw General with our subject area tutoring, all you had to do was survive one of our target courses, been at Missouri State a semester, and get a recommendation from faculty before you were eligible to be hired and go through our training. But for the Writing and Presentation Centers, we're looking for juniors, seniors, or graduate students who can help you out. We offer writing support for any writing project, and it could be anything. I mean, anything. Could be your thesis, publications from magazines and journals. It could be the letter home asking mom for money. You want that one written pretty good, right? The writing that we're going to do is usually a one-on-one thing where you bring your paper in at any stage of the process. This is the cool part. We're going to help you elevate your work. Notice I didn't say we're going to help you edit, because when we hear the word edit, many of us think of, you're going to fix my grammar, punctuation, and spelling, right? No, we can't do that. We want you to be able to do that. You are a college student now. That means you are a scholar. Yeah. And being a scholar means that we expect you to rise to that level. Okay. And so the Writing Center is going to help push you to that level. Not only are they going to do that, they're going to make sure that you're saying the thing in a way that your faculty members are used to. We'll also work with citation methods, APA, MLA, CBE, CSE, ASR, Chicago Turabian, stuff people make up. If you don't know what I just said, come to the Writing Center. We can help. Okay. You can also practice public speaking for your Com 115 class. I alluded to this earlier. We have some specialists in communications and theater and dance who work for that unit. You can deliver your speech, show them your PowerPoint presentation, anything that you like to kind of help you navigate that before you stand in front of your class and are judged by your peers in Com 115. We all know that practice most of the time makes perfect. And I think that practicing your speeches this way is great. There's also synergy between the Writing and Presentation Center in that you could bring your speech outline or your written speech. And then what you can do later on is actually practice that in front of one of our consultants. Let me revisit the subject area tutoring, because as I said on the slide before, we usually focus on hotspot areas. The Math Center, the General Science Center, our Chemistry and Accounting, and many more are spaces that students tell us they want. Unlike the Writing and Presentation Center, you don't even need an appointment for our hotspots. You literally walk in, sit down, look scared, get help. More scared you look, the faster you're going to get help. There's no crying in the bear claw, and you can stay all day if you want. And that's the cool part. All day. I had a guy last semester that actually ordered Jimmy John's delivery. And we went up to him and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm working on calculus." Okay, man, stay as long as you like. And what we found is that it's not working through your homework. Rather, it's working through the concepts that faculty need for you to complete your homework effectively. So we're not a homework mill. We're not a place where you can come in and get your work done. What it is a way that you can clarify and feel more confident in your ability in your work. And these peer tutors and the writing consultants and the presentation consultants all go through a specialized training. It's a course that they take. They're screened by faculty and our staff. And what they're designed to do, this class, is to make sure that they're engaging you in a way that makes sense. So they're going to teach you how to study for specific subjects, how to write for specific classes. You understand. The last group on this slide that you'll see is course mentors. This is kind of one of our best kept secrets on campus. These are for the classes where faculty have said, "I know students need help." Students tell us the same thing too. And because they're specialty courses, these are courses like anatomy and physiology, introduction to biomedical sciences, chemistry and agriculture. These are classes where the material is so traditionally difficult that students have had a hard time navigating it. So we hire a successful student, someone who took that class with that professor. And then we assign that student trained to work with large groups to that professor. That student has their own classroom. You could come to them during their session times, which usually are 2 to 3 a week. And they teach you how to study for the material to build up for each of the examinations. Here at Missouri State University, my message to faculty when they say, "My students are struggling," I always tell them, test them early and test them often. And you guys are thinking, please don't tell them that, right? But you really want that to happen. You want testing early because they're smaller chunks, easier to digest, and the course mentors are here to help you with that. Everything from taking notes in specialty classes, the time management, and how to navigate those courses. Pretty cool program. All of these things that are listed on this slide can be found on the Bear Claws webpage by going and clicking into these links, and we drill down on all of the information I've given you today. Because these things change frequently, it's always best to check where we are each semester. We usually update those about week 2 of every semester.
Okay, so maybe at this point you might be feeling a little overwhelmed. I'm very familiar with the resources that Michael just spoke about, and I have moments of thinking, wow, this is what it's like to be a first-year student. Now, if you're a student who hasn't, neither parent has gone to college, and you may not even know maybe what the ins and outs of college are like, rest assured in knowing that you're in good company. We have about a third of our incoming students are self-identify as first-generation students. And again, that's neither parent has completed a 4-year degree. So we are a campus that is very actively focused on supporting first-gen students. We have been nationally recognized for our work in supporting first-gen students. We've also have received a competitive grant that has allowed us to have additional funds that allow us to expand our support. We have scholarships, we have first generation sections of our first year foundations course that has additional training and support that our faculty go to. We also have peer coaches and peer mentors who will be assigned to working with students within those sections. We have some scholarships that we have available. We've created a blog of our peer counselors who've written about their experience kind of going through the semester. So you hear about their highs and lows as well, the antsiness and the anticipation that comes with midterms, and the relief of maybe getting a decent grade, the anxiety that comes with planning for classes for next semester, and then again, the relief of meeting with their advisor and learning about that. So we have a lot of support. And so hopefully, before I turn this back over to Dr. Wood, hopefully at this point you're feeling a little bit more reassured and knowing that we do have a lot of resources available to you, and that these resources are not only available to you, but they're free, and that we really want you to utilize those resources.
Okay. Thanks, Tracy and Michael. So on the screen here are names, faces, and phone number, emails. We want to hear from you. So if after this is over, you want to follow up with us, please email any one of us. And so Kelly Wood at Missouri State, Tracy Glaskin at Missouri State, Michael Frizzell at Missouri State. And I'm going to leave this up just for another minute, because while you're maybe writing those down, I did have a question that I wanted to throw out to the two of you, maybe more Tracy than Michael, but I had one student who asked, will everyone pretty much be taking the same gen ed classes, or is it personalized to your major? So that's the first question. What do you think about that one?
Sure. So, about 80% of our students come into the university knowing what they're thinking that they know what they're going to major in. I say that because about 20% of our incoming student body is officially undeclared. But then we have about the 80% that do declare a major. Now, that being said, a good amount of those students are probably going to change their major at some point. It may be because the courses aren't quite what they thought. It might be they've changed interests. It may also be because they didn't realize that we have over 100 different majors at this university and they learn about something else. So I say all that to say that when you figure out your schedule for your first semester, you're going to be taking a lot of general education courses as well. Our gen ed program, like most institutions, we do have a general education program, and that program is comprised of all the courses that we feel like that students need to be educated citizens, for them to be contributing members to society, for them to have the critical thinking skills, the communication skills, to have that historical and global awareness. These are courses that the university has set aside to be as part of the gen ed program. Within that gen ed program, there are many choices for you to take. So it's not like everyone has to take the same 15 courses. So we have the foundation courses. GEP 101. Michael mentioned about COM 115. He also talked about the math table. So there's a mathematics, a quantitative literacy course that you'll be taking. So those will be some of the courses that all of our students will be taking at different times than GEP 101, which will be in your first semester. But then from there, you have different general education courses that you can take. You may take some of those sprinkled throughout your time at Missouri State, and you may have other semesters where you take a couple more gen ed classes. So you have a lot of choices within the general education classes that you take. And if you're someone who is undeclared, using some of those courses is a great way of checking out a major. Or if you are a declared student, checking out a minor, that's a great way of doing it. I would encourage you to look at courses that interest you, courses that you feel like as you do a quick self-assessment of what your strengths and weaknesses are. You know, let's work on improving some of our areas that we're not quite as knowledgeable in. You know, you never really ever know at what point those general education courses are going to be useful to you. I can tell you it's been quite a few years since I've had some general education courses as an undergraduate student, but there are some of those courses that I still have really used to really build upon my foundational knowledge that then I can work with all the college students. So the critical thinking skills, you're going to get that in some of your general ed courses. So hopefully that answered that question.
That's great, Tracy, and it actually answers the other question that participant asked. So you hit it out of the park there because you got both questions answered. That's great. Another question is, do most students have a minor? Is it required? So I'll go ahead and take that one. Any student can add a minor course of study to their program. What may influence your decision to take a minor would be how many credit hours your major is, A, and B, does your major require your to have a minor? So there's a number of different degrees out there. Some require a minor, so then you have to do it, and others do not. So for example, many of our Bachelor of Science degrees that are not what we call non-comprehensive, those all require a minor. If you have a BFA, a Bachelor of Fine Arts, if you have a education degree, those do not require a minor. However, many students in those programs will want to add a minor. For example, those in theater or art may take some business classes for a minor because they really want to understand how to run a business, if they're going to do that business on the side or create their own studio, for example. So a minor program is great. As I mentioned earlier, the question is, can you fit it in and not go over, for example, the number of hours that you need to graduate? Most students, of course, want to graduate in 4 years. And so planning those semester by semester courses will help you stay within those hours. Sometimes taking classes over the summer can even help you complete that minor, despite the fact that it may not be required. So we love minors, they're great. Some students in communication, for example, based on the number of credit hours for a major in communication, I've had a lot of students who have done 2 minors because you have enough hours even to get to 120 hours to graduate to complete 2 minors. So that's a really good option. All right. There are a couple of other questions coming in. I want to ask some additional questions that I'm seeing as well. Michael, how will I know which of my classes has a Bear Claw tutor associated with it?
It's a good question, and that changes every semester. Best place to go, bearclaw.missouri.state.edu. Our website is updated at the beginning of every semester to show you the students who we've hired and what their specialty areas are, including their schedules, so that you can figure out when and where they are. Now, if you have a special student embedded in your class, in other words, a course mentor, that will actually be indicated on the course syllabus. That does change quite a bit and is normally updated again at the first week of classes. You could find that at pass.missouri.state.edu as well.
Very good, thank you. All right, another question. Can I switch advisors? If I get an advisor and I'm not quite sure that they're a good fit with me, can I ask somebody to be my advisor, or do I have to be assigned to somebody? Tracy, would you like to take that one?
Sure. So when you once you declare your major, you'll be assigned an advisor within that academic major that you've declared. If you are coming in as an undeclared student, you're going to have an advisor in the Academic Advising and Transfer Center, and those are generalists. So I used to work in that office, and it was my job, and it's currently still their job, to learn as much as possible about all the different academic programs on campus. With that being said, once you decide what you want to major in, then you will work with an advisor within that academic department, because obviously that person's going to know far more about their individual majors than the over 100 majors that we have at this university. That's someone who works with students who are undeclared. Once that's done, or even if you are undeclared, if you maybe have conflict with your advisor, if you feel like you're not able to work out or resolve an issue, you can certainly request another academic advisor. Some departments may have, and this will be done formally. So you would want to work with the department head or the administrative assistant to see if there was another academic advisor for you to work with. You can't just go up to someone and, another person on campus, another faculty member on campus, and say, will you be my advisor? There's a formal process for that. But yes, if you feel like you're not getting the academic advising support that you need, you can certainly take it to the department head or the administrative assistant within that department to see if you may get reassigned. And it's really important for you to develop a great relationship with your academic advisor, because just like how we have the coaching and the tutoring and the peer mentoring, the academic advisor is going to be the person who's going to really help you plan out your classes, help you figure out when and if an internship is available. Dr. Wood had mentioned about one of the questions was like, should I add a minor, or do I need a minor? Another option that we have as well are some really wonderful undergraduate certificates. And so you may think, adding on a minor might be too many hours, but maybe adding on a certificate might be really good. And we have so many certificates for you to select from. So that's going to be another option for you as you progress down your academic journey. And those are great discussions to have with your academic advisor.
We've also been throwing around quite a bit of jargon today. So for example, things like academic advisor, minor, certificate, those are all things that you will be learning about in your first year seminar class, and are questions you can ask your academic advisor. So a follow-up question to that is, how do you find out who your academic advisor is? And once you complete SOAR, you will be assigned to an advisor based on your major selection that you would have confirmed at SOAR. So once we assign you that advisor, you should receive an email from your home department or from that center office that says, hi, Joni, Dr. Smith is your academic advisor. This is where you can reach her, her email, her phone number, and then you have that information. That's an email. So you'll get notified formally that way. The other way you can find that out is in your mymissourystate.edu portal under the student tab with your advising information. So I would also encourage you to poke around in your mymissourystate.edu student and registration tabs. There's a lot of great resources in there, not only who your advisor is, but you can look at classes. You can see your transcript there. If you have classes that you're transferring in, you can go in and look at those transcripts and how they were allocated. So lots of great resources there that I would really encourage you to follow up on and peruse as you go. I've got a fun question that I want to ask both Michael and Tracy to answer. If you were a first-time new in college student and this was your first semester at Missouri State, and let's say I got a schedule where I have a 9 o'clock class, an 11 o'clock class, and a 3 o'clock class. There's some time in between there. So what should I do between my classes? Either one of you can take it.
Michael, you unmuted first. You go, and then I'll follow you.
It feels like forever since I was a freshman entering campus and like, what did I do? You know, when I lived on campus, the dorms usually had like patio areas where you could just kind of hang out. And I got to know my roommate by hanging out with them on the patio, watching people go by, talking to people just generally. You got the same questions you always ask, right? So where you from? What's your major? Those sorts of things. But it was a great way for me to get engaged with the students, just, outside of my classes, the people who I saw in the hallways, that sort of thing. What you'll find in the dorms, in the residence halls here on campus, is that you have a resident assistant who can help you with programming as well. So they'll do things like where they get you engaged with each other, getting to meet each other, finding campus organizations. I did all of that my first semester. It was probably too much. Um, you know who you are. Some of you guys probably like to be alone for a while and be quiet. Some of you others wanted to find things to do. There's always that option here on campus, both sides. So to answer the one where maybe what would I do if I had a long period of time between classes, besides doing my work early, because that's easier, what I would do is I would explore the area around campus, and I would also take a look at what's within walking distance, the things that you have, the restaurants, the shopping that's here. There's some great greenway trails in Springfield, so that when you need to just get away, there's all these nice trails to walk. I walk them every morning. It's fantastic. So that's probably a lot more than you needed, but that's what I would do between classes.
So I would take kind of a little bit of what Michael said and also a little bit of a different approach as well. So based upon if I had a class that had, for what I perceived as being the most challenging homework, or the homework that I was just not going to understand, or I left that class and I'm thinking, what the heck just happened? What were they talking about? I would, if I had that break, somewhere after 9 o'clock or after the 11 o'clock, I would definitely find myself, whatever place it was. I'm a library. I love books, so I'm going to be in the library, doing that homework right away. But we have so many nice outdoor seating areas. The library is right by the fountain on campus, which just right now has a beautiful view of the water fountain. And if you like, listening to the water can be rather calming and peaceful. So there's lots of great outdoor seating there. So I would probably tackle the class with the homework that was stressing me out while it was still fresh on my mind. If you leave class and if you're stressed, if you don't think you understand it, you're not going to understand it later. So as soon as you can get to that material and start reviewing it, looking at the notes, reading back through the textbook and filling in those gaps. And then maybe if you can stop by your faculty members, we heard Michael talking about, connecting with your instructor and asking them questions. I would do that right away. So I'd be that's the academic side of me as well. But we also want you to think about Missouri State as being your new home away from home. And so one of the things that I would encourage you to do to learn a little bit more about campus, Michael's right, just go for a walk, check out the buildings, check out and see, at some point you may have a class in all of these buildings. So check them out. But the other thing I would encourage you to do as well, you're going to notice that there's a shuttle, a campus shuttle that goes around campus. And you're going to see a sign that says orange or green or red or gold. You'll find the campus map. It's online for the shuttle map. Hop on that shuttle. It's free. You don't have to worry about, do I have to pay for this? I've got my Bear Pass card. Hop on the shuttle and let that shuttle take you around campus. If you go on the gold route, that shuttle is going to take you downtown. Michael mentioned there's some great restaurants. There's some cute little boutiques down there, some bookstores, lots of other places downtown. Hop on that shuttle, and that's a great way in the first few weeks on campus. And it's going to take you back from where you started. So if you're someone like me who is not known for their navigational abilities, just pay attention to the stop that you got on. Make sure you get off at the same one. But definitely, that's something I would really encourage you to do, because it's a great way to see all the great things that Missouri State has to offer. So that would be something else that I would do during that window of time.
There's one thing we didn't mention, neither of us did, and it just occurred to me. We have a fantastic rec center on campus. Our recreation center is amazing. It was actually featured in a magazine. It's like Off the Hook Campus Recreation Center. That's probably a dated saying, but you get the idea. It's a fantastic place. And they do these swim-in movies I don't know the logic of actually swimming in a pool and watching Jaws, but hey, could be kind of fun. You should check it out. And there's so much things happening in there that even as a staff member, I use the rec center a lot here on campus. Fantastic space.
All right. Well, thank you, Michael, first of all, for bringing Off the Hook back into my consciousness. That had been a few years. But we are going to go ahead and wrap up, everyone. We really appreciate all of you joining us for our webinar today. We hope that you found it helpful. Really appreciate your questions. Let me give a quick shout out to our panelists. They were great, and we really appreciate your time joining us for this session. As a quick reminder for everyone, we are going to send you out a recording here either in a few days, maybe early next week. So be watching your email for that. Again, we appreciate your time. We're super excited to see you on campus here in August, and the obligatory Go Bears.